Good night, Belizeans at home and abroad. This is the Belizean Affairs Show number 369. 369. We're grateful for your presence to come and spend your 1.5 hours time with us on the Belizean Affairs Show. And tonight, we hope to be able to provide something that will worth your time. And we're looking forward to the chairman for tonight. If not, then I'll hold over as chairman. But for right now, I'll just bow my head and follow the process that we normally do, which is to offer a short prayer and then we do a little reading. And we launch the program formally after that. So I'll just bow my head then. Divine, loving Father, thou who art the creator of heaven and earth, and all that in them are, into thy hands we commend ourselves once more, asking that thou would continue to have mercy upon us, that thou would continue to guide and protect and bless us, and give us wisdom, knowledge, understanding, endurance, perseverance, and a bit of fortitude to deal with the affairs of our country, loving Father. We pray that thou must bless our people of Belize, its leadership and the country, that thou would bless the people of the United States, its leadership and this country as well, and that thou would bless the rest of humanity according to their needs. Thou knowest our hearts, our desires, even our most secret thoughts. Please let the words of our mouth and the meditation of our mind and the contriteness of our hearts be acceptable for thy divine presence now and always. For we ask these mercies in Jesus' name. Amen. Are you,
Amen.
are you, Mr. Wade?
Thank you. Thank
Welcome.
you, Leonard, for that warm, warm prayer. The nation and the world needs prayer.
Amen.
Thank you very much for always bracing us with a prayer. And uh, as you say, our chairman, for tonight, we are with him. And as usual, time is of an essence, Leonard. So thank you. And
Yes,
the
sir.
show goes on, and
Amen.
I'll do a reading. I'm Leonard from Isaiah, chapter 32, 1 to 8, and it reads. The title is "A King Will Reign in Righteousness," and it reads, "Behold, a king will reign in righteousness,
Amen.
and prince will rule in justice.
Amen.
Each will be like a hidden place from the wind, a shelter from the storm,
Amen.
like streams of water in a dry place, like a shade of a rock, of a great rock in a weary land. Then the eyes of those who see will not be closed, and the ears of those who hear will give attention. The heart of the hasty will understand and know, and the tongue of the stammerers will hasten to speak distinctly. The fool will no more be called noble, nor scoundrels, nor the scoundrels said to be honorable. For the fool speaks folly, and his heart is busy with iniquity, to practice ungodliness, to utter error concerning the Lord, to leave the craven of the hungry unsatisfied, and to deprive the thirsty of drink. As for the scoundrel, his device are evil. He plans wicked schemes to run the poor with lying words.
Amen.
Even when The plea of the needy is right, but he who is noble plans noble things, and on noble things he stands. That's my reading from Isaiah chapter 32, 1 to 8.
Amen.
Those last two verses, really reminds me of some scoundrels that we have as leaders and people who soar on the Bible to protect and serve its people and to
Amen.
do right by people. That's my reading, Leonard, and that's what I got to say on that reading.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Back
Wade,
to
for
you, Leonard.
your, thank you very much for your kind contribution, sir. And I would like to, I'll be acting as a temporary chairman until our chairman shows up tonight. But in the meantime, I would like to ask if you'd care to
Thank,
give us a little traffic
thank you.
input
Thank you,
and
Leonard.
other on any other issue that you might just want to touch on
Thank
preliminarily,
you.
that
Thank
we
you.
can probably discuss later on too. Go
Thank
ahead,
you,
sir.
Leonard.
I yield to you,
My
sir.
people and nation, as we yesterday marks the end of the hurricane season, as we come to another closure of things that we expect. June to November, we expect that, and we know that as the hurricane season. We hope and pray that if God give us a stay on this earth to be here for the next hurricane season, we hope and pray that our leaders, whoever they are, do right by its people in
Amen.
terms of preparedness. Because, Leonard, Belize, this country called Belize, is not prepared for any disaster. When I say prepare, basic needs, basic things, like, for instance, one, a hurricane shelter,
Yes, sir.
proper hurricane shelter. My people, a lot has happened, and I need not expound on all of the things that happens, but most of the things that happens lately directly affects the Belizean people, and more so the poor and less fortunate. Um, we see now the actions of the transport department, as you see the new CEOs, this new CEO, his proposals in terms of, some may say, casting blames on the poor people that uses a motorcycle, that they contributes to the accidents that happens and continue to happen, when in fact we on this program we show different, where our data show that you know it's not the motorcycle users. We see that $300 penalty, and the time you got to spend learning to ride a motorcycle all over. We here on this program had state our stance, where how we felt about that. What was a penalty on the poor people that uses motorcycle to traverse to and fro from home to work because they cannot do otherwise. We see the commercials with the CEO with bike riders, bike clubs. Who are some of these bike clubs owners and big motorcycle riders? They are luxury people. Those people uses their bikes, their motorcycle to have a good time. They don't use their motorcycle to go to work or to do errands. A lot of these guys that the CEO sat with and sit in the name of sitting with the motorcycle riders. No, these are well-to-do people, right? Well-to-do. So what do we expect from these people that he sat with? Um, I'm so glad that we here on this program we show and then we tell and then we say how we feel about that issue. So now they made another spin. Oh well, that $300 is better than a funeral, paying a funeral home. And then they say, well, that $300 was just a cap. It wasn't that what you're going to pay. That's the latest from them now because people are clamoring, people are talking about it, right? And we all know who uses these two-wheel cycles. We know the people that can afford to do that. So all these things, that is happening. We see lately. We talk about the felt in the water. And like I've said, the tap water, what else do we expect for these people that sits on these waterboard body? Would come and say, you think they will say it's their fault? It's Wasa fault? No, they will not say that. They will find other ways and they will spin the narrative to let you believe that they have nothing to do with that. Then lately there's a stench from in Belmopan from the one of the plants. And what they're saying, no, it's not from Wasa. Wasa has nothing to do with that. It's from residents who fail to hook up to Wasa, who fail to hook up to that department. So you see how when they are caught on something, how they spin it and try to let you forget it that the people are the problem. But anyway, the chairman is here, and it's something in the background here. But there's the chairman is here, and I'll graciously pass it over to the chairman and welcome Mr. Gregory Brackett, our chairman for tonight. Good night, sir.
Good night, Mr. Weir. Good night to you, Mr. Brackett.
Good night, sir.
Uh,
Good night, Mr. Chairman.
It's always a pleasure sitting virtually with you guys. And I want to say good night to the people at home and abroad. Welcome them to this our 369th edition. 369th edition of Belizean Affairs. Gentlemen, tonight there's a lot going on in Belize, and there's a lot we can speak about, but we have to take them on a timely matter, and that is how we can get around to them. But tonight, gentlemen, I want to start the show with the first video because I want to hear you guys' opinion on this incident that happened.
Are they telling me now that every single time a Belizean pulls up at that, they will question the Belizean? Where are you coming from? Where did you buy this? Show me your custom entry form. Show me this, show me that. Is that what they're telling me? If that is the case, then Paul, why don't they put one on Coney Drive? Why don't they put one on the highway here? They can put checkpoints anywhere and ask people where they're buying stuff and where they got it from. Customs officers. Why don't they do that? Why do they put it up with a police officer? Why is it a joint operation? Why can't it just be an operation for customs? Because clearly their powers are limited to what they can and can't do when it comes to stop and searches. The power for stop and search is for the police. Customs is saying they have powers. I don't know where they get it from.
Gentlemen and people at home and abroad, this is an incident that happened to this lady last night. Shortly after this incident, there was a posting on social media showing, according to the posting, that the Custom Department, the police force, the BDF, and immigration will do joint adventure together to curb illicit contraband, etc. But the pretense of this, according to the video and according to what the lady was saying, was she came up and what is assumed to be allegedly a checkpoint, and there was only one person shining a flashlight, so she did not stop. And when she reached somewhere along Ladyville, she was being chased and stopped by the custom department. Mr. Wade, I want to go to you first to hear your input on this. Because the question the lady was asking is, does the custom department have the power to stop you? Or that power lies in the police department? Let me get your input on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. And, that's just another, you know, sad reality as to how the system treats casual Belizeans and the poor and less fortunate, and people who have no intention of evading custom or doing any of these number of crimes that some of the big people are doing. So for me, that is just a little deterrence. But let me say this: what we're in the Christmas season. Christmas is right around the corner, right? So as for me, this is what I got to say on that. These custom officers are just looking to hustle, right? It's all about hustling on the backs of the poor people. And while the big criminals who are doing all the contraband and all the backdoor dealings, and we know them, the custom department know them, the police department know them, the politicians know them, maybe some of them too. But what I'm saying is they are known people. But why? These people handle the upper echelon very good. They butter them power very good. So they are not the issue. The issue is the poor people, who in turn they will take away their produce that they are bringing, their little vegetables, they leave quarter liquor, or they leave 6 beer, or whatever little things that they can muster on a cheap basis, trying to squeeze their money, because buying these items here in Belize is very hard for some people to do. So you find out now that during the holiday time, that's when the custom rank up their patrol. And in the past, Mr. Chairman, you hear that people are getting killed or had getting killed, murdered by some of these custom officers, right? Chasing people, right? Especially in the north. Especially in the north. So that said on that, because they're gonna say he who feels it knows it. I could remember Johnny Briseño had encouraged a container full of contraband from across Mexico and delivered to somebody in his constituency, a lady. And then the person that calls him out got fired. He fired that person from Baja, right? Because that person was doing his job, right? All I'm saying is that the big people get away and the little people get hurt. And to put a checkpoint, when any branch of government have a checkpoint, it should be properly installed as something. This is a radio there or something, or TV or something. Yeah, if they are going to initiate a checkpoint, it should be properly installed and properly erect, right, with proper signage and distance, so that you know that you're coming up to a checkpoint. Not the way these countries do it, right? They suddenly put up a roadblock and a checkpoint, and you should know. You should know that. It should be properly placed so that people know beforehand, right? And I could remember, Mr. Chairman, lastly, is that, not too long ago, the same commissioner of police, along with other branches, started to uh, incorporate um, some of these departments, like the traffic department, and I think they right after all the shooting up from the custom department in Orange Walk and Corozal, they installed some of these custom officers, gave them the power to arrest, right? They swore them in. I don't know if they went to the academy and studied the laws and all that, and that the necessary steps that warrant them to arrest somebody, or how they go about arresting somebody and taking them to court. But yeah, they had installed some of them as gave them the power to arrest. So it's so sad to see how these people operate, and a proper protocol, Mr. Chairman. They should come up with a proper protocol, right? And like you says, install proper checkpoints that known checkpoints that you go across, you come out from any border, whether it's Guatemala or Mexico, that you'll be coming up to a checkpoint, and you need to adhere to the laws and the rules of the country, but not the way they are doing it, Mr. Chairman. It's I just hope and pray that it gets settled, and this lady, if she felt that she have been aggrieved and they took advantage of her, take them to court, and let's see what the court comes up with, right? That's what I got to say on that, Mr. Chairman. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Wade, Mr. Brackett.
Mr. Chairman, everybody knows that I like to answer these questions and deal with these issues through the voice of the Constitution itself, rather than just verbalize my own opinion. So if you allow me, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to be able to read two specific parts of the Constitution. Section 9, subsection 1, and Section 10, subsection 1. And Mr. Chairman, if you can afford me the opportunity to just mute your thing for a second, so I can read this clearly to the public. Section 9, subsection 1 reads as follows: except with his or her own consent, that is in the case of this lady that we just saw this situation happen and reported by you again, except with his or her own consent, a person shall not be subjected to the search of his person or his property or the entry by others in his premise. And this particular section 9 has been violated and continues to be violated in so many different ways, all under bogus premises. Why? Because the Constitution allows for certain exceptions, and they take and make these exceptions according to how they want to interpret it, rather than abide by the law. Who does not understand what I just read just now? Even people don't understand English if they are spoken in their language about this matter, and it's read to them in their own language, would understand what is being implied there. So how the devils can our officials, police officers, custom officers, and other lawmakers pretend that they have a right to transgress the Constitution and our rights, to put us in a situation where, because of these exceptions, they claim that they have a right to violate or have the authority to violate our rights. When, as you say, Mr. Wade, it amounts to a bunch of scoundrels, scofflaw and misbehavior, because they know better. But yet they're going to expose the general public to these onerous rules or regulations that they try to make that is inconsistent with the law, and declare according to Section 2 of the Constitution as being null and void because of their inconsistencies. I'll ask that you allow me to read the next part that I want to bring to the attention of the general public, Mr. Chairman, and that is Section 10 of the Constitution of Belize, subsection 1, and it reads as follows: a person shall not be deprived of his freedom of movement, as in the case of this young lady. She's in her own country, and her right to move around in her country, as is authorized under Section 9 and other parts of the Constitution, including this one that I'm currently reading, allows her to be able to move around her country without being impeded and or being sat upon and or being chased down on the road at night by people who are not properly identified. Anyhow, a person shall not be deprived of his freedom of movement, as in the case of the young lady. That is to say, the rights to move freely throughout Belize. What part of that they don't understand? The right to reside in any part of Belize, the right to enter Belize, the right to leave Belize, and the immunity from expulsion from Belize, as well as the immunity from prosecution for not abiding to any rules or regulation that transgress their constitutional rights, and to demand that their rights be respected. Yes, there are occasions when the police officers under emergency powers and or, for example, even without emergency powers, but when there's a emergency going on, for example, without having been declared, as in the case of having to chase a escaped prisoner or chase somebody that has committed a heinous or violent crime, and therefore they got to put up these quick checkpoints just in order to verify, who is passing through the checkpoint so that the presumed criminal doesn't get away. That's not the same as to have the customs officers go out there during Christmas time, like as of right now, when people are trying to go and buy their goods and transship their goods from one part of the country to the other, that they should go out there and put these people under duress and all kind of claims. And I'll explain why they do this craziness, okay? Because a lot of people think that they're doing it in good faith. When they do this kind of craziness, if, for example, they find somebody that actually is doing some contraband, what they do is take away the contraband from the people then. And what a lot of these officers they do is share the contraband among themselves, and or they take it home. So it's a big hustle. If people not pay them a little more either to get by with uncustomed goods, then they take the people and goods and take it to their home. They not go away, they not go and throw it away, or they not go and give it to other poor people who need some food or help or something else. No, that's too good for them to do. The idea is to dispossess people because they're not getting enough of a good salary for them to survive and subsist on. And therefore, that goes to the blame of the government for not paying the employees them properly and keeping them under proper police authority to make sure that they're not embezzling money from the government and or taking money from people from Roody in order to make some of them run the checkpoints. If they put up a bona fide checkpoint that is properly lighted, properly staffed with police officers as well as custom officers. But it appears that the custom officers are assuming onto the custom department the power and authority vested in the police officers. If they want to act like that, then all they have to do is become part of the police force. But it is incorrect for the government to grandfather any police authority to custom officers to carry no weapons and shoot nobody or arrest nobody for uncustom goods. Or as in the case of this young lady, chase the lady down. What they man do? Shut her in her head like they did with the other young man if she never stopped? Well, what they did is chase her down, get in front of her, and park their vehicle. Suppose she may run into them and kill one of them or kill herself. That's recklessness on their part. But I yield back, Mr. Chairman, because I'm getting ahead of the program, I believe.
Thank you, Mr. Brackett. I want to say this right,
You're welcome, sir.
and I hope that you, the people at home and abroad, will understand this, because this is a test of the 13th Amendment. The government is exploring. They knew what the custom did yesterday with this lady is unconstitutional, and they know she will sue because she is a attorney. That is why this social media post came about today. But they were not thinking and wanting to have such broad powers. Belize would have to be in a state of emergency, and there is no state of emergency. So you cannot use those powers in a regular, normal day with people in the general public. So what they are trying to do is use administrative privilege as the law. There is nowhere in the Custom Act section 48 or 49 it says reasonable articulable suspicion. The police is the only one who has the power to arrest, and they cannot take the criminal code and pass it on to the Coast Guard, Immigration, or the Custom Department, because that criminal code is the use of Section 25 and 22, the Drug Act and the Firearm Act, that gives them the power to search under reasonable suspicion. So when they are coming with this bogus
Mr. Chairman, Mr.
and
Chairman,
putting it out there, yes,
Mr.
Mr. Garcia,
In addition to reasonable suspicion, it has to be, like it says, RAS, reasonable, articulable suspicion. Not a
that is
suspicion that
correct.
they just uh, spit out of their mouth from their brains that doesn't germane to the constitutional requirements of people's freedom and their rights. You cannot just because the police say, well, he think that the person, no, 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 no. It has to be within the legal bounds and the authority of the law, not the authority of the individual trying to pretend that he is vested with the authority of a police officer and whatever comes out of his mouth is the law, because that's not the way it is. But
It
I yield
is
back. Sorry,
not.
thank you very
And
much.
I want to say this. The powers that the Custom Act is only during hours that goods are being transported. And it only gives them the power to go into any premises that they can do lawfully for contraband. So what they are saying is totally
It's bogus.
inconsistent with the Constitution, because you can't stop no vehicle anywhere in the city or any place and you want to search for contraband. That's
It's
a
illegal.
violation of your rights under Section 9 of the Constitution.
Mr.
And we
Chairman,
needed
can I
to
say
get that out there. Go
can I
ahead,
say
Mr.
something? Give
Wade.
me a minute, please. Mr. Chairman, like I say, I just hope that the people eyes are open to see what the system continuously do. Right? They continuously do this with items coming in. What happened to all the illegal sugar? What happened to all the
Drugs.
contraband? The people's property of the Belizean people going out of the country, and not
Mhm.
one pound or 2 pounds, sacks upon sacks. right? On both borders, the western border and the northern border. Who have gotten charged? Who they caught doing these things? No one. What happened to all these cigarettes, Mr. Chairman? Contrabanding from out of these free zone, north and west. What happened to these things? What happened to the fuel, Mr. Chairman, that continue to be contraband? Who got caught? Right? What happened to the flour? What happened to the rice, the beans, the beef that they contraband on a daily basis, and in large quantity? Right? So, like, it's so sad, Mr. Chairman, to see how these people just continue to take advantage. They continue to take advantage as scoundrels, right, of the poor people. It's all about the poor people, penalizing the poor people, one set of class of people. And they're letting the masses out there that do this criminal activities only because why? They are friends of the politician, they are friends of the prime minister, they are friends of this minister, the minister of this, the minister of that. The whole chicken caboodle of them, 31 of them, are guilty of this act. Past and present. Right? So, and yet, my people, they arise. I read a scripture just now. Open your eyes. It's time. Yet your eyes are closed, man. These things really, these people, like I always says, Mr. Chairman, all of them that do wrong in this country and get away with it, at some point they should be held accountable, arrested, charged, and jailed. Back to you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry about that.
Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. Wade. Go ahead, Mr. Brackett.
I had another comment. The contraband is being authorized from the highest level of our system. I'll give you an example. Anybody forget the Prime Minister taking a call from one of his friends, and he told the people at the border to let the person through, the lady through with her goods, uncustomed goods. Not only uncustomed goods, but goods that did not have authorization to come into the country, because not only were they uncustomed, but they were also illegal. Prohibited. Illegal. That's the correct word. Prohibited. Okay? So right on the spot, with a simple telephone call to the Prime Minister.
And what happened to that individual?
That law was violated, and the person who was trying to do his job was fired eventually. That's the kind of system that that is being put in place to replace what should have been or what is right. We're not continuing to be a society of law and order anymore. It's a society of the rich and the powerful and the influential. So that lady that they messed around with last night, and many other Belizeans, as a matter of fact, that one person at least spoke up on her own behalf and is making an issue of it. But many a times these people with authority, customs and police and BDF and others, they go and commit wanton crimes against unarmed civilians in the society, intimidating them to try and dispossess them of whatever is it that they can take from them. And it seems like the government could care less, because many ministers have been caught with contraband stuff and they're being waved through. None of them got shot in the head. None of them got prosecuted, much less jail. And it's all in violation of the Constitution, what they're doing to people. Honestly. I yield back, sir.
Like I say, Mr. Chairman, quickly again, this topic really, it's reality, right? Most of them, who do they prey on? Who do they prey on? They prey on the vulnerable people, coming in with a little something for them to make their lives a little bit better. And then they take it away, Mr. Chairman. And I said the occasion, this is Christmas time. And what they do with these things, you said it, they share it amongst themselves. They go about and have party, big time, all these custom man and policemen and all the ministers and all of them. They go and they have a big time on the backs of the poor people again. Right? Because they produce the liquor that they take away. They produce the beers that they take away. They produce all the produce that they take away. And they have a good time on that. So sad. I said when they are drinking these things, they should choke to death. That's how I feel. They need to stop that. Back to you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry about that because it pisses me off, right, to see how these people continue to operate. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Can I just throw in one other little thing there before you continue?
Go ahead, Mr. Brackett.
No, man. When these people stop individuals at the border who are bringing across some goods, some of the people want to pay for the customs to bring the goods. Some others cannot afford to pay the customs to bring the goods. But at the end of the day, there's a rule, both at the airport and at the land borders then. At the airport, I think it's about $500 that you can bring in without having to declare, and or even if you declare it, you don't have to pay. So long as you bring in less than the amount that is allowed. The same thing goes for the land borders. It's just that I think the numbers is a little smaller at the land borders compared to the one at the airport. That is my personal experience and understanding of the process. Now, why the hell do they have to take away 1 6-pack of beer for anybody where they try to bring that from over the other side of the border? I'll explain to you why. Because they don't want you to bring the beer in the country because they want to make you go and patronize the local beer monopoly, such as the big beer companies then. So they want to put you in check for a 6-pack, which is less than $50, okay? Cause you all kind of harm and inconvenience unless you have money to go pay one liar to contest their declaration. That is that they declare you to be contrabandists. They inconvenience you during the course of the day. And if they don't arrest you or carry to jail or whatever, which amounts to other punitive. The Constitution says that nobody should be held against their will, or nobody should be, their rights to move around or do what they want to do shouldn't be infringed upon. So if you're doing what you need to do and you're bringing in less than the amount that is limited to you to bring in, why the devil they got to make that an issue? Why? Because they want you to leave their stuff with them so that they can, like I said earlier, and Mr. Wade alluded to as well, to have their own party. It's Christmas. They don't have enough money to spend for their own party stuff, so they want to deprive some people of the little things that the people will try to buy and bring so that they can have it. That's a racket. And as far as I'm concerned, it's an abuse of the process and the authority vested in them. And that shouldn't be going on because the prime ministers, they know it. Just like how he could have helped a lady, he know that it's more than just a lady, and it's a lot of other people, other ministers, then bring in stuff. And because I know on a personal basis, many of these cases that I'm talking about, I'm not alluding to something that I think I'm just surmising or that somebody told me. I've transited our border a lot of time, and I've seen a lot of stuff that goes on, and I know a lot of people in the high echelon of poor people who boast about these things that they do. Some of them, they have more money on their lifestyle. They have all kind of chains and gold watch and this and that, and then they flash all over the place. Why? They're hustling on the side and taking in more money than their salary. Are you back, Mr. Chairman? Sir, thank you very much for allowing me to get this, because, like Mr. Will said, it pisses me off. It pisses me off too, and I'm just fed up with it, and I know that better could be had.
Mr. Chairman, also, Mr. Chairman, put that all in a package. The system is geared up only for certain people. Not too long ago in the House, when Briceño and his minion was opposition. The Imbaro was the UDP. They had a clash of oh yeah, the contraband that Brisenia was doing and some of his people, right?
Uh-huh.
And he says, yeah, that was a big thing, right? That was that, you know, they caught him with on custom goods, right? And they worked that out because then the other minister from the other side helped him out. It was in the house. They brought that up in the house. You could, if you think that I am talking crap, you know, play that back, right? They could play that back. So, you know, double standard, right? Double standard.
Then
So
just
sad.
chance it. Then just chance it. And then
It's so
chance people
sad.
who can do
And it's
better.
public knowledge, okay? Thank you for that, Mr. Chairman. Back to you.
I want to say this. Thank you, gentlemen, to you, the people at home and
Welcome,
abroad.
sir.
The government of Belize cannot use extended powers unless it falls under Section 18(2) of our Constitution,
For
and
emergencies.
that has to go to the Governor General for her to order a state of emergency. You cannot use those powers in a normal situation with general population when we are not in a state of emergency. It is called profiling, and I will pull the banner so that you, the people at home and abroad, can see a ruling from the High Court that specified this. You just have to look up the case law. And there it is.
It's an abuse of the process.
Greg Nunes and Brighton Cad versus the Commissioner of Police 2021.
And Mr. Chairman, and yet when sometimes they harass these people and they take them to court, if they go at the lower court, at the
Magistrate court.
magistrate court, some of the magistrates they victimize these people by declaring them guilty, and they make them have to pay money and all kind of stuff. When these magistrates are supposed to be competent and knowledgeable enough, but they yield to the government process and procedures and protocols, and then victimize the victim again. When they, as the magistrate, supposed to be under separation of powers, have the authority without fear or favor, and give justice to whom it belongs. They don't. The whole system is getting corrupted. Are you back, sir?
Thank you. I want to go to a tape, and I want you guys to hear it, and people at home and abroad. I guess everyone know what happened between the Prime Minister and Mr. Vasquez from Channel 7, and what was said or what was not said. But I want to play a response to what was published against Mr. Vasquez, and just a portion of what he had to say today.
It's just poor thing. I feel so badly. First of all, for whoever had to write that stuff. My goodness, I can't imagine to be so bothered about me. I done nothing and I done dead. You don't have to go on so man. I know where there are whole press release spreads. And to bring the high and lofty Prime Minister's office, to bring it so low. People all over the world will read this. Heads of government or their offices at least will see this and they'll say, what's really wrong with you, Mr. Brisenia? Mr. Brisenia, are you unraveling? This unhinged, manic, irrational type of attack, it speaks to someone who is unraveling, and we have to look beyond the communication, beyond the words. Mm-hmm. What really is being communicated? Mm-hmm. What really is being communicated is fair. Mm. When you see that release, what you are seeing right there is someone in a very vulnerable and frightened state. And it's certainly not over the little post we did. It didn't even make the news.
Yeah, it was just on Facebook.
About the Prime Minister and Mr. Roca. that he visited him last year. If he had visited a Nobel Peace Prize winner, we would happily put that 1 year ago the PM began with the Nobel Peace Prize winner. It happened that he went with, he didn't win a Nobel Peace Prize. He may have won a Nobel Crime Prize, but Mr. Roca, that is. And we just mentioned, but we say, I'll then talk about the investment and so. I don't know, I don't have any nefarious suggestion. I don't know that anything untoward happened, and that was certainly not the implication of the story. Mr. Roca is making global news, so it's not about the post. It's about something else. When someone overreacts like that, you have to look what's been did and what's been hid. What are you hiding? What are you afraid of? What has triggered such a disproportionate and personal reaction that is so beneath your office? Well, it used to be beneath his office, but he constantly brings the standard lower. But it really concerns me, the disproportionate nature of the reaction. It
Now, gentlemen, you heard the response from Mr. Vasquez. What he had published was a visit that Mr. Briceño, Prime Minister Briceño, went to Mexico to meet with Mr. Raul Roca, the honorary consul
For,
station
for
in
Guatemala.
Guatemala, in Mexico, the honorary consul of Guatemala station in Mexico, and as Mr. Briceño put it, he went to look about investment for Belize in tourism and economics. And actually, he went to talk with the Mexican when he met Mr. Raul Roca. Now, I want to say this, right? It is my belief that that is not true. I believe that the Prime Minister of Belize did not just went there to do business with the Mexican and accidentally met Mr. Raul Roca. And tonight, I want to publicize this so the people at home and abroad can do their own investigation to see what they will find. Because
Mr.
it is
Oh,
my
sorry.
belief it is highly impossible to meet someone for just a first time and have discussion about Belize economical gains. Mr. Brackett.
Thank you very much, sir. Um, I don't know why is it that it seemed like the prime minister have this impression that he can leave Belize, go abroad, meet with whomever he wants to meet, and because Belizeans live in Belize and are in Belize and are not trailing him or following him, or he's not, you know, have a microphone in a briefcase where they carry it now or whatever, so that people could hear what they say and know what they say and where party go, who you meet. We Belizeans don't have that ability. But this knucklehead man have the impression that because he's aware that Belizeans are not that smart, we don't have that level of intelligence. And when I use the term intelligence, I don't mean just smartness. I mean the capacity and ability to be able to know these things, be aware of these things. Why is it that he doesn't care if foreigners know about these things and are able to put him in discipline? Such as, for example, in the case where he said the American consulate, they call him in, the embassy, and the charge d'affaires told him certain things that he, in his own mind, thought that nobody else should have known or would have known. To the point where he got so scared that other people know his business, people who have powers over our country, and who could have him fire ministers because of what they exposed to him. He got so frightened with what they told him and showed him that he came back and fired ministers and then turned around and lied to the public to tell the public that the minister where he fired and when he done say he fired. Oh, afterwards when he realized that the public is getting interested, why he fired the man and what all he was told. He can't come out and tell the Belizean people what all he was told or what kind of check was put over his shoulder or his head. The dispatching of Mr. Mai was just one little shot over the bow at the whole Belizean ship, which the Prime Minister is leading and captaining. And he was shown and told what he was told, and he got scared because he not believe that nobody else in the world know what he do. And they showed him an evidence because America don't operate without evidence, especially when they go public with any kind of issues or they have to deal with any public affairs, especially when they dip in other people's country's business. They have long arms, long telescope to listen and to see and to know and believe that only microcosm in terms of how we deal with foreign affairs. So I don't understand how the Prime Minister could feel that he could bamboozle the local Belizeans them at home and think that he can bamboozle the whole rest of the world intelligence circle. Because people are paying attention. Then probably show him, well, I shouldn't get into that part. Let me just leave that part alone.
Thank you, Mr. Brackett. I will go to you, Mr. Wade, for you to give an input on the incident. But as I said before, it goes beyond the meeting with Mr. Raul Roca. Go ahead, Mr. Wade.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's so sad to see how past and present government operates in secrecy. Sad to see how they go out of this country. Everything on the backs of the taxpayers. Everything. So the water they drink, up to the water they drink, if they drink water, right? Up to the food they eat, up to the movements paid for by the Belizean taxpayers, right? It's so sad to see that, they take all these things and what they do in return to gratify the Belizean people. They come back with sometimes nothing to tell the Belizean people. Very few times these guys go out, right? And they come back and no accountability to the Belizean people, Then some of them would come and say, well, a little of what they did and who they talk to and what they talk about, right? But I say this, Mr. Chairman, as for me, nothing that guy says, I believe. Nothing. That's only me, because that's the way I see that guy, right? And, like Leonard said, that, these guys go and sit in these meetings, Mr. Chairman, and because of Belizeans are dormant and they know the question and they know the this and they know the that, right? But there are other entities in those meetings, Mr. Chairman, right? And there are minutes taken by other entities on meetings, right? Who other entities that want to be accountable to their people. But these knuckleheads that goes out of Belize and travel around the world, right? And they come back and they spewed out nonsense to the Belizean people because we are not educated and we don't know better. Same thing with the my guy. They caught him and there are news items around with him with different people outside of Belize, different people that for sure is not known to want to do business in Belize, like that will benefit the Belizean people, right? But what they spin that around, you see how they spin it around, right? So, and then when one would say, well, like, let me call this guy out or show and tell, they try to silence these people. Like, for instance, what they did with Jules, right? It's so sad to see how low this man is stooping, how low he's going. And like I say, these people that they go and meet, we don't know what part of Belize they don't own already. We don't know how much of Belize they don't own, right? But like I say, nothing fruitful come back to the Belizean people. Nothing that will benefit the Belizean people will come back, right? They will not come back and say, yeah, well, we got a factory. The Belizean people got, I just went there and I talked to him, what's the name of this guy? Roca or whoever the hell he is. And he was willing to build a factory for us. You would never hear that. Never. From both systems. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. I go to the video. Let's hear the video.
In Commerce Bight, the PUP government has been promising the people of Dangriga from 2003 that we want to find a way how we can open the Commerce Bight. Obviously, it could no longer be a cargo port, because right close by you have a very modern cargo port with a draft. It is about 30 feet, so that the biggest of ships can come in, dock alongside to offload. So we've been looking at different options, and the area representative also, as part of his, Dr. Louis Zavanino, he, as part of his campaign, said that he wants to see how they could open it, and now they're looking at tourism. That there's I think there's a group of business people, mostly from down south, that have come up with a plan, and the cabinet is taking a look at it, and the idea is for them to rebuild pretty much the Commerce Bight, because it's been abandoned for so long. And the idea is to be able for small cruise ships of 400 to 600 passengers, between 400 and 600 passengers, that can stop off there. They want to fix the land that's available, and also the jetty area, that whole area with gift shops and restaurants, and so that the people in Dangriga could also sell their products, their food, talk about their music, about the paranda, the spiritualness of the Garifuna people, so that there's just a great opportunity in that. So we're looking at that and see if it is something that the government is prepared to do. It is going to be a massive investment. They're also looking at connecting a ferry to be able to connect to Honduras and Guatemala, Puerto Barrios and Livingston, that can bring, you could be ferrying people back and forth. And thirdly, also to be able to, people can bring their sailboats and so forth for it to be repaired in that area. So they're looking at different things that all can be combined as one full package.
Now, gentlemen and people at home and abroad, you've heard what the Prime Minister said. Let's hear what the local representatives have to say.
So we're doubly blessed because we also have the Minister of Tourism, Honorable Anthony Marla, and his team, who met this morning with the tourism stakeholders, discussing the issues and concerns of the industry, but also we had the opportunity to talk about the imminent opening of the Commerce Bight Port and also of the green area in front of Sacred Heart. And we had a robust discussion about how the ministry and the BTB, working closely with us to ensure that Dangriga becomes a prominent tourism destination in Belize. And so we're also very excited with that. Tomorrow we will be having a visit also by Minister Julius Espat and his team.
Wow.
And they'll be here visiting and looking at the street works that are occurring. And so we're so excited that Dangriga is getting a lot of support from central government, led by Prime Minister John Briceño. We are really grateful for the attention that we're getting and the impact that it's having on the quality of life of our people. When these clinics move from constituency to constituency, it's usually the area representative that works along with the ministry to coordinate and organize the logistics of bringing in the persons to the land clinic. With respect to the other things, we work closely with the other ministries. I have the privilege of working very closely with my colleagues, and they have responded very positively with the development of our area.
Gentlemen, you heard two tapes. You heard the area representative said he's working with the Minister of Tourism. People at home and abroad, I want you to hear this tape. Listen to this tape carefully.
I think that is going to be a crucial component to the growth and development of this area. We brought some experts in maybe about a year ago, and they identified that the Commerce by Port as a crucial area for development. So we support that project wholeheartedly.
When are we looking at?
Sorry?
When that might come into effect?
Well, hopefully sooner rather than later. You would have to talk to the investors about that.
When you heard three tapes, I want to go to you first, Mr. Wade. You heard what I said earlier. I don't believe, based on these tapes, and based on what happened with Mr. Brackett, that the Prime Minister, on his mission in Mexico, seeking tourism and economic, just randomly run into Mr. Raul Roca. And I will say why. I go to you first, Mr. Wade.
So sad you listen. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, anybody with a little bit of, sense, and anybody with a little bit of knowledge of listening to words, and words have meaning, right? And you watch the difference of how these guys speak, right? What are they hiding, right? That is my big question. What are they hiding? And why is it all the time when they have a scheme, when they sit in cabinet and come up with a scheme, it's always that they use the poor people of whatever area they are scheming on, right? They use the poor people. So people of Danriga, you are being used again for a big scheme, right? And just hope and pray that it trigger down to what the Briceño guy say. It will trigger down to the poor people and the little gift shop and the little restaurant and the Garifuna culture and all this. And we have heard this kind of nonsense before. At least I have, right? And look where we're at. I've heard this kind of nonsense many years ago from the two-party system. So if they were truthful, Danriga would have been flourishing. And here, 2025, you're hearing the same crap. Another scheme, right? Just like others out there, the port wars out there, like Ashcroft, their body says, it's just another retirement for the big boys, right? So, who these kleptocrats and these jackals, and they don't seem to want to go away. They just keep coming back. If it's not their sons, their daughters, their family member, their sister, their brother. Oh, but that same little mass of people on both sides, both systems, they just keep coming back, just gobbling up whatever is there and using the name of the poor people. So sad. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. I go to you, Mr. Brackett.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wade, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, again for the opportunity to participate in this discussion. I recall hearing one of these ministers saying, as regards to the Commerce Bright Pier modification or remodeling, that it might cost about $50 million US.
And that's nothing.
And that money, and that kind of money, according to him, was easy to come by. Well, of course, if you have friends like the gentleman that the Prime Minister had gone and spoken with, 50 million is like chump change. Because those guys are billionaires. I mean, they circle with billions in terms of their investment portfolios. And like you said, Mr. Wade, if the Prime Minister had gone and asked for something for Belize, nothing would be wrong with that. But the man never even want, we know that he gone and talk to the big man there. And because other people bring out the information, and Jules end up to talk about it, and he, Mr. Prime Minister, was pressured with that same information that other people knew, because, like I said before, while we Belizean might not have no talents, other people have talents. And other people have their agents in a free country, they do their business for their one country. While we Belizean do not get to know, that doesn't mean that the other people outside no know. But if we country, they get compromised. If we country, they get put on the block for the highest bidders. And when these people get their foot or their finger or their toe or their fingernail, enough we hide, there's no way that we are going to be able to get rid of them. Because they're not only suborn small countries like Belize, they're suborn countries like Guatemala, Mexico, and many others. So we are like one mosquito to them. But yet we knucklehead, low class, evil-minded leaders, they go and compromise you so they could get finally these are things on the side. We're not care about we country, only to the extent that they can rape, pillage, and benefit from appropriating the assets of the country unto themselves and their cronies and friends and family members. Mr. Britannia right now wouldn't tell the Belizean people that his portfolio of assets amount to $45 to $48 million value. Why he wouldn't tell you? I just did. Okay? Mr. Barrow, who preceded Mr. Britannia, would not tell the Belizean people that his portfolio of assets is valued at approximately $32 million. Why? Because when he first went into politics, he never had two nickels to rub together. But when he left politics, he was worth $38 million. None of these two gentlemen's salary as prime ministers of we country could have afforded them the privilege over the period of time that they've been in politics to have amassed that kind of wealth. But most Belizean people don't care. They don't understand and realize that we're being robbed with our eyes wide open. And with a hug and a kiss on the jaw or a kiss on the forehead. Other boy. Are you?
Thank you, Mr. Brackett. People at home and abroad and gentlemen, I want to go to a tape because the question needs answer and we have to make it make sense. From this tape, and before I go to the tape, I want to say this to you, the people at home and abroad. Let me read it. Government of Belize. The government of Belize awarded a long-term concession for the port development and operation to a private consortium and maintain a 20% ownership stake in the project partnership, meaning the government will maintain only 20%. Now, let's go and read what it says. Private sector stakeholders. The Private Investment Consortium, a local private consortium, is leading the port development project, holding an 80% share in the public-private partnership. So while Belize will get only 20%, the private consortium and its partners will get
Mr. Chairman,
80%.
can we name
Imagine.
some of those names that belongs to
No,
that
I don't
consort?
want you to name no names.
No, I'll just
I
try to be
want to
facetious.
go specifically to the state so the people at home and abroad can hear what was asked in the House so we can get to the bottom of this. Here is the tape.
It is expected that this will create jobs and, most importantly, introduce a new part of the tourism sector, which is marinas where yachts can come in and harbor and enjoy the beauty of Belize and be based there. I understand from the Minister of Tourism that in Guatemala, in Rio Dulce, the yachts there have to come out of the country of Guatemala for a minimum of 3 months. They would love to do it in Belize, but there is no marina. And so this seems to be an answer to that particular problem, as well as to attracting other marina yachts that want to use marinas in our waters. Most importantly, it is a tremendous stimulus to the economy of the Sand Creek district and the surrounding areas, creating jobs, attracting investment, and we believe, Madam President, to be very beneficial to the economy of Belize.
Who are these people? Who is this developer that we're talking about, that we will give a port of entry to? And I ask it genuinely. I see in the agreement there's a mention of it was signed by an Emilio Zabani and the government. But, Madam President, who else is involved in this project? Who are the funders of this project? Because this agreement has some striking clauses in there that we could come here today, debate and agree that since from what we know Emilio Zabani is a Belizean, but there's nothing that prevents him from unilaterally divesting himself of these shares next week and give it to somebody else without even telling the government. Or if he can't meet, or his company can't meet his obligations, these funders can come in and just take over the port.
I played that tape for a specific reason, people at home and abroad, because what Mr. Perfit was asking is exactly what is happening. The private sectors that is used for this port
Local Belizeans.
is a front for the foreign investors. and that is to protect from political backlash. And as I'm saying this, if they were smart, they they are trying to hide it. They are trying to hide it. Nobody knows who are the developers, except if you go to the Port of Danriga's website and you click on it, and you will find out who that is. And I want to put this word out there so you, the people at home and abroad, can do your research. Look up for Legacy Holdings. Go to portofdanriga.com and you click on Legacy Holdings and you scroll down to the bottom. And when you scroll down to the bottom, you know what will come up? This is what will come up. Our founder, Raul Roca Santo, Mexican entrepreneur. That is what will come up. The same individual the Prime Minister went to meet, the Prime Minister on his trip, let me rephrase, that is what will come up.
Mr.
So
Chairman,
you can do your own research. That is the person who Jules mentioned that the Prime Minister met a year ago in 2024. That is the developer that is developing the port in Danriga.
Mr. Chairman, is there something that is called a laundry? I yield with no further comment.
So people at home and abroad, if you want to really know, go
Oh, man.
go to the Danriga website, https://portofdanriga.com, and when the page come up, you will see Port of Danriga by Legacy Holdings. You click on Legacy Holdings and you scroll down to the bottom about us, and you will see who is the CEO and founder of that entity. I go to you, Mr. Weir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You put it all together, Mr. Chairman, and I don't need to comment much on that. You know, it's just so happened that every time there is action in terms of big money, there's only one name that surfaced in the South, and I will not say that name, right? And it's so sad to see that again that name keep coming up every time there is big projects and big money. Money has to do with big money. And then why the Belizean people want to get a measly little 20%, measly 20%, right? Well, that is all that the Belizean people worth. That is all. And the things that bothers me, that public-private, right? So don't you think public means the people of this nation?
Mm-hmm.
Why are they only entitled to a measly, stinking 20%? So, the proof is in everything that you said there, Mr. Chairman, and the proof is in what Jules had talked about. And I'm in line with all that, and that's only my little comment on that. The person name that always come up when it has to do with big money in the South, and it means the 20%, and the name and the big item, public, private. And this man, Rossena, use that a lot, He use that a lot to do his dirtiness, public, private, and I close my case. Back to you, Mr.
Mr.
Chairman.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Wade, again, I
Oh,
want to say this to you, the people at home and abroad. Based on my findings, because I want to say this, ChatGPT is an awesome website searcher. And anything you want to find out, it is right there for you, and you can fact check. So I'm saying again, based on my belief and what I found out from the Danrica website, when I went to it and I clicked on Port of Danriga by Legacy Holdings, I clicked on Legacy Holdings and I said, I clicked on About Us and I scrolled down to the bottom and I found the name CEO and founder Raul Roca Country. So anyone who is out there who has doubts about what I'm saying, feel free to go fact check it for yourself.
Mr. Chairman, quick point again.
Go ahead, sir.
All these things are happening right now in Belize and or about and around Belize. But the people who put together our original constitution in the preamble part of it foresaw these things way, way into the future, which is now. Way back then, 40 odd years ago, when we got independence, when they were putting this thing together, listen to what the people say. Whereas the people of Belize, paragraph B of the preamble of Belize goes on to say, respect the principles of social justice and therefore believe that the operations of the economic system, which includes what we were just talking about in terms of the Sand Creek, Pear, and development and others, the operations of the economic systems must result in the material resources of the community being so distributed as to subserve the common good, that there should be adequate means of livelihood, that is to say, work or jobs for other people so they can make their own living or subsistence, that labor should not be exploited or forced by economic necessity to operate in inhumane conditions, but that there should be opportunity for advancement on the basis of recognition of their merit, ability, and integrity, that equal protection should be given to children regardless of their social status, and that a just system should be ensured to provide for education and health on the basis of equality. How can we get all these things done and the government is complaining that we don't have resources to pay the teachers to give the education, to buy the health equipment, to manage the hospital? We have to borrow money from abroad to build a hospital, and we have to get $7 million to pay for or to pay to somebody for a piece of land that we sold to that same person for $500,000. And to say that the land was already available free of cost, but that they decided to go and spend $7 million to buy back this $500,000 piece of land that is next door to a sewage plant. That's the kind of mindset of leader, the quality of leadership we have in our country. They're
But
all about the big hustle, not
Mr.
about taking
Brackett,
care of business.
beyond that, Beyond that, I think we have a maritime act or something of that sort, or within our schedule of the Constitution that specifically says no individual should have domain over our waterways or over our economic, meaning no one should have greater access than the people living in Belize.
But Mr. Chairman, our leaders are suborning that power of the government of Belize to foreign interests who gives them a little something on the side. And to hell with us, the public and the people of the country. That is what aggrieves me. I yield back, sir.
Thank you. With that said, Mr. Wade, I go to you for closing and your last comment.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for yeah, you go again. Belizean Affairs Show. Enlightening the people. Bringing it straight forward to the people of what's going on. Some might know it, Mr. Chairman, and some might not know it. But here we are, disseminating it to the Belizean people and calling a spade and calling it as to how we see it. And the only thing they have always said, we only talk and talk, Mr. Chairman, and we don't offer solution. They are all wrong. We have always offered solution, right? So, I just hope that tonight's program, shed some light,
Mr. Wade,
take away
before
something.
have me an excuse, Mr. Wade. I need to say this again to the public at home and abroad. As I said at the opening, it is my belief. I am not trying to criminalize anyone. I will not be the judge of no one. But it is my belief based on what was said from those states. When I heard the Minister of Tourism said that they brought in people to look around Belize, you had to have known these people and you had to have known what is happening. It cannot be just a random act that took place. I go back to you, Mr. Wade.
Thank you. Thank you for, again, let it make sense. Let it make sense. And, when will it stop? When will it stop? I read reading earlier about, just and noble leaders, right? Just and noble leaders, right? All this will end when we get some just and noble leaders that, want to see better for the Belizean people and the nation. But so far, we have had nothing but scoundrels and self-enrichers, self-centered, and they do it all the time. They disseminate our natural resources, Mr. Chairman. They use it for their own interests, right? They abuse the taxpayers' dollars with no accountability. They abuse all the grants and all the goodies that they get, from the outer world for the Belizean people, and they abuse it how they want to abuse it. And they do not give everybody their fair share. These things got to stop. So, my hat goes off to you and Leonard, for always, be steadfast and calling out the ills and calling it for how it is, because we letting it make sense, right? It's only the Belizean people, they need to just open their eyes, right? Open your eyes, open your ears, and then you will see these people for who they are. So when they come knocking at your door, you tell them what you think about them, right? And what they are doing to you with no fear or favor. got to stop, man. Like again, it's always a pleasure, Mr. Chairman and Leonard, sitting in your company. And thanks for producing, Mr. Chairman, such uh, a nice show, educational show, a show that brings out the worst in these leaders, not the good, the worst in these leaders. And thank you for putting it together. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On that note,
Mr. Chairman, can I have one last comment? I'll make it short, sir. No, we
Go
are out
ahead,
of
sir.
time already. How happy I would feel, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Wade, and or Belizean people at home and abroad, if these leaders would go and meet whoever they meet, because you can never tell who and what people are until you deal with them. But that they'll meet these people and bring back investments into our country that accrue taxes to our treasury so that the government can have money from these investors' investment by them paying their fair share so that we can move forward with the development of our country. We should not begrudge anybody making a dime or making any profit off of their investment. That's what business is all about. But there's what you call benign business and malignant business. And it is the malignant business that I am against. They go and get these investors. The investors, they give them a little subordination on the side. And then the investors make their investment. In some instances, like for example, the new tourist key that they have, Belizeans can go out there and participate in nothing out there. They don't even get no jobs like what they used to get when they used to have the port at Belize City. At least people would come to the city, they get off the boat, and they'll mingle up with the people, buy and sell from the local population, and they get a little crumbs off the table. At least that was being helpful. No, that's not happening anymore. Everybody wants to make their own tourist destination. As in the case of the thing that is Japanese they are talking about. They're talking about helping the development of Sand Creek and that the people there would benefit from it. That's an outright lie up front. Because no local Belizeans, other than the family members of those elite people, will be able to go and open any kind of business inside of that operation. That's not going to be tolerated. Belizeans won't be able to go and sell no ice cream or fresco or fruits or vegetables or any kind of shop that they go put up or vending location on the perimeter of any such development. And then they want to have banking permits so that they don't have to use a regular bank or they don't have to let their money come into the country. All they do is they sell their tourist packages abroad in foreign currency and on credit cards, and no money come to Belize, so there's nothing to be taxed. And then they get 25 years free to bring in all their goods and everything else. Our government needs to be looking out for the interests of the Belizean people and its treasury. And until I see that happen, I will not stop complaining. I yield back, Mr. Chairman, and thank you very much for presenting such a nice show tonight too.
Proceed, Mr. Wade. Thank you, Mr. Brackett.
You're welcome, sir.
Proceed, Mr. Wade.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. I end by I just hope that our show be meaningful to some, and for those who appreciate us, and for those who will view us a little later on tonight, thank you, and thanks to all our supporters in terms of sharing our program. And Mr. Chairman and Leonard, I want to constantly remind our nation that our show is watched around the world. It's watched around the world. And thank you again, Mr. Chairman, for putting up such
In
a nice
England,
program.
Australia, Jakarta, Japan, Korea, many
Thank
other
you.
places.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Look forward for Wednesday night. Thank you.
Good night to you people at home and abroad.